Now that we've helped people understand that their identity as a disciple of Jesus is a disciple maker, it's good to use a useful tool to try to help them understand who do they need to be making disciples of. And at Redeemer, we like to use the phrase far from God. Those that, of course, we can't judge the heart the way that God does, but Jesus says we will know them by their fruits. And so this is someone that might not be thriving in their relationship with Jesus right now, or haven't gone to church in a long time, or someone that's never heard the gospel. These are the people that we need to be praying for, so that God, through His grace, can use us in their lives to help them take their next steps closer and closer to an understanding of what it means to be a follower of Jesus as well. And so we get some of these things from John chapter 17, verse 20, and Luke chapter 10, verse 2. I'm going to read the Luke passage because this is when Jesus is praying for His disciples. And He's not only praying for His disciple, He's praying for those that will believe through the disciples' testimony, which is super exciting. But let's look at chapter 10 of Luke and see what it says. And Jesus said to them, "The harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Therefore, pray earnestly to the Lord of the harvest to send out His laborers into His harvest." You see what He's saying there? That God is in charge of the harvest, and He is sending laborers into His harvest. And so there's really nothing that we can mess up here. We just need to be obedient as disciple makers. So let's use a really helpful tool to try to help people identify those that are far from God in their sphere of influence. It's good to break it down by categories, first of all. So first, have them write down their name, and then say, well, let's think through people that you work with. And let's think through people that you live next to. And then also, let's think through people that where you do your hobbies at, or where you work out, or where it's kind of a third place that you spend time at. And so, help them break down this category. Who do you work with? Well, I work with Jim. And I work with Luke. Well, who are your neighbors? I was like, well, my neighbors are Nick and John and their families. Where do you work out with? Oh, there's a guy that I see every single day. His name is Steve. He goes to the gym that I work out at. And also, where my wife goes and does her hobby, she always hangs out with a lady named Sarah that they've never had a spiritual conversation with. And so right here, you automatically have 6 people that someone has identified. And then you can also help them see how big it is. It's like, hey, have you ever done anything with Steve? He's like, yeah, he sent me to a barbecue and he introduced me to some of his friends, and I have some of their numbers over here as well. And so you could potentially help people understand that they know a lot of people that are far from God. And because of the command of God, it's good to identify those that are far from God, and then earnestly pray to the God of the harvest, which is His harvest, to raise you up because you're already found in their sphere of influence on a daily and weekly basis to be used by God for His glory to help them become followers of Jesus.